Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 8 of my Rose Bowl analysis for the Alabama and Michigan game 2024. And I am today going to talk about the game winning, or I should say, game tying drive that Michigan had against Alabama, and specifically the play calling of that game tying drive. And so I'm going to start with under 4 minutes of the game left, and Michigan is down 20-13 to Alabama, and they have to tie this game up in order to go to overtime. And so I'm going to talk about the things that they called in order to lead up to that final touchdown pass to Blake Corum that tied the game up. And so without further ado, let's hop right into it, which is the third and second play with 3 minutes and 27 seconds left in the game. Like I said, Alabama's up 20-13. Michigan they went back to the 12 here. They were at 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends. Both tight ends lined up on the left side of the line of scrimmage, both wide receivers at the top. Alabama is ready for a run on this 3rd and 2 play. And they, or at the very least, they're like, we're not going to give you the option to check to a run. You're going to have to beat us passing the ball, and we're going to play good defense here. So Alabama has their 4 people down. They have Kool-Aid McKinstry up on the line of scrimmage. They have other DB next to Kool-Aid. They got the linebackers in the middle, including Deontay Lawson and Jahai Campbell, and the rest of the DBs are shading toward that left side, the left side of the defense, the right side of the offense. So J.J. McCarthy's in the shotgun with Blake Corum. They bring number 10 in motion from those wide receivers at the top of the screen. So the motion is obviously designed to get Alabama's defense to look at that play and to move along with the motion. So usually on a pass play, when someone does motion, it's usually used for misdirection when they're playing against a good defense, because they're athletic, they can move, they're going to run to the ball fast, especially if you're looking to do a short throw. And so they're going to get the defense flowing one way and probably trying to get the wide receivers flowing the other way in the tight ends, which is what Michigan did here. So that motion is happening. Blake Corum's out in the flat immediately. They have Loveland, tight end number 18, pulling out to the right side. And you also have the other tight end, I think number 89, going up on a crossing route as well. So you have 3 routes all running to the right side of the field. So Michigan designed this so that J.J. McCarthy can have 3 options at 3 different levels to throw the ball on this 3rd and 2 to get a first down. So you have Loveland underneath, covered up by Deontay Lawson. You have Blake Corum covered up by Malachi Moore in the flat. And you have the tight end number 89 covered by Mekhi Key from the safety position deeper up the field in the middle of the field. So everybody's technically covered on this play, although who McCarthy was going for was 89, because he had a step on Mekhi Key, and that probably could have been a completion if, as you notice, Deontay Lawson, who had come up to cover the tight end number 18, didn't use his athleticism to jump up and swat that ball, like to bat it up in the air, and that threw the trajectory off, and there was no way for anybody to get to that ball. Really good defense by Alabama. Like, I think what I really appreciate about this game time drive, and I think Alabama fans should appreciate this too, and Michigan fans, you should appreciate good football too. Alabama made some really good calls, made a lot of the right calls in these situations, and they played good defense, and Michigan just somehow continued to do their thing, right? And they made some plays to kind of advance, and you'll see that on this 4th and 2 play, the next one. So it's 3rd and 19, mind you. So I don't think people realize how close Alabama came to winning this game. Like I think with the stop right here, I think Alabama is going to run enough of the clock down where Michigan can't score, because it's 4th and 2. Alabama had a little bit more momentum than Michigan did, and this game's kind of in an interesting spot. But it's 4th and 2, 3 minutes and 19 seconds left in the game, and Alabama's just stopped them on 3rd and 2 on a short pass. So Michigan's going to make a great play call here, and Alabama's going to have, as you can see, 5 people in the middle of the field. Well, I should say 4 on the line of scrimmage, but they got 5 people on the line itself, including the DBs who are up close. They're pressing these receivers. They're not going to give them an easy throw. You got both of the linebackers behind those people in the middle of the field, but they got some big boys in the middle to kind of get some, make sure the pocket doesn't give up an easy run. Number 96 in particular. But so this is what Michigan's going to do. They're still in 12 personnel like the last play. 1 running back, 1 tight end. They got Roman Wilson, wide receiver at the top of the screen, number 1. Both of the tight ends on the right side of the field. And you got number 6, the wide receiver at the bottom, being covered by Kool-Aid McKinstry. And so Michigan's in the shotgun. Blake Corum set to the right. They're going to do a similar thing with Blake Corum, which is send him out to the flat. So you got Blake Corum going out to the flat on the right side. And you might immediately notice no Alabama defender is going with him, because Michigan did something very, very, very sneaky and fun, like from an offensive play calling standpoint. They had those three guys. So basically, they had one tight end, number 89, at H-back like position next to the right tackle. They had Loveland at number 18 right next to him, up close on the line of scrimmage, and they have Roman Wilson a little bit further over. But that's kind of like a stacked formation, kind of like a three wide receiver stack, or three receiver stack, including two tight ends, right, in this situation. But all of those guys in that little stack, because Alabama plays a certain type of defense, especially if it's a zone, or guys where they do these, when offenses do plays where wide receivers run routes in a similar area to kind of disrupt your defense. Alabama does pattern match concepts, which is when a receiver runs in your pattern, in your zone, in your area, you start covering that receiver in your area, and they have a whole complicated, I should say complex, because complicated would imply that maybe it's a little hard to understand, which it can be, but the better word is complex, because it is complex in the sense of what you need to do to accomplish the defense. But when you do it right, it's executed very well. They have a complex set of checks and systems where they tell each player who to take. Michigan got Alabama by getting them to mess that up earlier in the game when they scored a touchdown back in the first quarter or second quarter. It was early in the game, but they're going to do it again here. And I think they saved their plays where they needed to get a conversion for these type of situations where they can then take advantage of Alabama's pattern match. Because look at what happens, 89 and 18. Let's start with 89 and 18. Both tight ends kind of run up the field. The 18 is being pressed by the safety who's guarding him. Like I said, this is zone because they stop and wait. But then right after that, Jahad Campbell and the freshman safety Caleb Downs are now having to choose who they're going to cover as well, along with Roman Wilson running up the field. And you have the other cornerback, Terrion Arnold, up there. So there's technically three defenders now. Well, there's four defenders. Like I said, they had Malachi Moore pressing the tight end at the beginning of the play. You got four Alabama defenders on four Michigan players. So theoretically, everyone should be accounted for, but let's look at what happens. Both those tight ends and Roman Wilson all run routes toward the middle of the field. Roman Wilson runs in the seam, so he makes sure he gets the attention of the cornerback, which is Terrion Arnold, and he runs up the seam on like a go route, a seam route up the middle. You got the tight end, number 18, kind of also runs a little bit of a seam, kind of a deeper crossing route. But look at Caleb Downs and who is that also with Caleb Downs over there, and Malachi Moore guarding 18, because he continued to run with him back there. He stayed with the tight end there. So Malachi Moore did not pass the tight end off to Caleb Downs. At least that's what I'm thinking it was supposed to happen. I think Malachi Moore in this situation needs to pull off that tight end, let Caleb Downs take the tight end, and Malachi Moore should come down and take the running back. Now, I could be wrong. Someone who understands the pattern match defense a little bit better, maybe you could correct me here, but I'm pretty sure that's what's supposed to happen, because if that's the case, then Caleb Downs can take the tight end, and then Jahad Campbell, number 30, the linebacker, he can continue on the guy that he has, which he looks like he did his assignment correctly. So Alabama basically had two guys covering one. Blake Corum's wide open. Nick Saban's on the sideline like, what are you guys doing? Nick Saban's looking at him. You can kind of see it if you see it fast enough. Nick Saban has both his hands up in the air like, what just happened? Like, why did you guys do that? Because the defense was supposed to account for the guy. And so Alabama's defenders mischose. Maybe we should make that a word. They didn't select the right guy to cover. And I think the issue here resided with Malachi Moore. Either that or Terrion Arnold, because maybe Terrion Arnold is supposed to pass Roman Wilson off to Caleb Downs up the field, but Caleb Downs was on that tight end. So I think the issue is both, you had two Alabama players, two safeties basically, play a tight end. So one of them shouldn't have played that tight end. And that's how Michigan took advantage of that and got this 4th and 2, one of the most underrated plays of the game, that in terms of like the technicality of it. And this was something that was really, really dope. So let's go to the next play, which is Michigan is going to get some good blocking here on this next one. So it's the 4th quarter, 3 minutes left. So this is the next play, basically, I think. It's 1st and 10. And Michigan is going to pull out a little trick here. So they got 5 wide technically, even though one of those 5 wide is the running back. So it's technically 11 personnel, or actually still 12, because they didn't pull anybody off. They have 18 and 89 still in the field. It's just that they're all spread wide. So it's one running back, 2 tight ends, and two wide receivers, the same people who were in those positions before, just spread out in a different way. Alabama, of course, is going to play this formation with their same defenders as well, because Michigan didn't substitute, so Alabama didn't substitute. Michigan does the motion. They have Blake Corum take a handoff, because obviously Alabama's defense is now going to all shift toward the offense's left side and move that way, because they're like, all right, here we are. That's what you think is happening, but that Michigan got Alabama of course Michigan will run the ball. That's what they do, right? They're on the 50-yard line. They have some time to run the ball. They don't have to throw every play, but J.J. McCarthy actually is holding this ball. It's a read option basically, or it could have just been a guaranteed quarterback run from the beginning, right? Which I think that's basically what's happening, because the way the Michigan blockers are set up, and number 18 is blocking over here, he's already pulling out in front. And J.J. McCarthy then gets an open gap on that side of the offensive line, back where they moved all the Alabama defenders from on that boundary side. He gets that easy gap over there for a nice little game, like just a really nice little game where they pull their guards and their tackles over to that right side. So like I said, it's design QB run to that side with the motion and fake to the running back to get the Alabama defense moving toward their right, which is the offense's left, because the run is going to the offense's right, which is the defense's left. So a lot of good motion and misdirection on this drive to get Alabama off guard. Because like I said, Michigan respected Alabama's defense a lot, whether you realize it or not. They knew that instead of trying to fight these guys straight up every time, let's get them out of the way, let's get them moving, and we're going to try to go the other way. And this is an example of that working really well for a nice game. So let's come on down to the next play. So it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So this is the next play. 1st and 10. Michigan is in a very similar. No. They switched to. They finally substituted. So Alabama did too, to get into a nickel formation, because Michigan is in the pistol formation. But in 11 personnel, one running back set behind J.J. McCarthy, and you got the tight end number 89 in the H-back position on the right side with Roman Wilson next to him. And you got number 8, the wide receiver, in motion coming across the field, and the wide receiver number 6 being guarded by Kool-Aid McKinstry. Alabama, like I said, is playing kind of like a nickel defense here, and it looks like a zone, and you could tell because look at the top of the screen, and you have Terrion Arnold at the top of the screen, not directly lined up over a wide receiver. He's set to that side regardless, so he's not lined up directly with anyone. And man, this is a zone coverage assignment. And so Michigan is going to then get a nice little setup here where they do a play action fake to the running back Corum, and they got the receiver motioning out there, like I said, doing a wheel route off that motion. And Alabama doesn't get much of a pass rush here. Michigan's offensive line picks it up really well, and J.J. McCarthy has time to throw this ball. Deontay Lawson is kind of like in a spy position. So what's interesting is that Alabama decided not to pressure J.J. McCarthy here. They decided to spy him, which is smart. J.J. McCarthy just got a nice run on the previous play, and so they're going to prevent him from running. But J.J. McCarthy decides to beat Alabama with a pass, and it's to Roman Wilson on this deep crossing route. Now, what's wild about this play, which I think it got mentioned a little bit, but that throw wasn't the greatest throw. If that throw was not snagged out of the air by Wilson, that's an interception. And the person who's going to intercept that ball, you got to see the Alabama safety come across the field who jumped. Look at him. He jumped in the air because he's like, I'm about to get this interception. He reached up to get this ball. That was Malachi Moore. Alabama safety read that ball. He knew it was coming. It was just a fantastic catch by Wilson. Michigan came very close to giving this away. And J.J. McCarthy kind of had a few plays like this throughout the game where like the ball wasn't exactly where it needed to be. But his receivers really stepped up when they needed to right here on this deep crossing route coming across the field. So a lot of things had to happen well here. The offensive line had to pick up well Alabama's pass rush and give J.J. McCarthy time. And McCarthy had to wait and be patient for Wilson to clear out across this field to get this first down catch. Really well designed play. Great play calling by Michigan here on this last drive. They saved a lot of good plays for this last drive. So without further ado, we're going to hit the last play just to get you guys out of here. 1 minute, 38 seconds left. 2nd and goal. It is a minute 30, like I said, left in the game. Michigan has to score a touchdown to tie it up. Alabama is not going to give up the run, as you can tell by how they are set up on this formation. But Michigan is in 11 personnel. So in the last 2 plays, Michigan went 11 personnel, shotgun formation, running back set to the left, one tight end, number 18, which is Loveland, in the H-back-like position right behind the left tackle, number 73. But you got the wide receiver, number 8, close to him. You got 2 wide receivers stacked to the top on the other side. And Alabama, once again, is going to kind of pattern match this and try to make sure that they do their right complex assignment to make sure that everyone is covered. And Michigan, once again, does something. It's actually a little, it's kind of simple this time, a little easy. But they bring Roman Wilson, once the ball is snapped, in motion coming across the behind the offensive line. They fake to Blake Corum, so it's a play action. So to get the Alabama defense flowing to that right side of the offense, which is the Alabama defense's left side, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Alabama defenders looking toward that side, and you got 3 Alabama defenders, really 2, because Kool-Aid McKinstry's covering the wide receiver running into the end zone. You got 2 Alabama defenders now matched up, trying to make sure this play doesn't get to the end zone. The problem is those 2 defenders are a linebacker, Jihad Campbell, and a safety, Makai Key. And I think the safety, Makai Key here, probably had the best chance of making this play if he didn't get drawn in by that play action. But that play action got him. That play action with the motion, so when I said they had 8 Alabama defenders going that way, and honestly, they got 10. It's just that the 2 realized the play action and tried to get back. It just wasn't good enough. Michigan brought a fast player, a really fast skill position player, the wide receiver, back across the formation. And that play design did a good job because, like I said, the person who they would have had to get out there to catch him was a safety and a linebacker. From an athleticism standpoint, these wide receivers are winning that standard. And so Michigan, throughout this drive, called plays to get Alabama flowing one way and to get that offensive play call flowing the other way so they can get some execution done and make the plays when they need to. This was a great example of that. Fantastic play calling by Michigan. I was very impressed on this drive. I mean, they saved a lot of good plays here and you can tell they studied tape. They knew the tendencies of the Alabama defense, and they took advantage of that in this last drive to tie the game up to go to overtime. And that's how we ended up with that. We're getting there. And I might make one more video about the overtime. Who knows? It's been a lot of fun doing this. Running out of time though. But thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought about this. Were you impressed on these Michigan's, like this play calling for Michigan on this last drive of regulation for them? And what was your favorite play, I should say? Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.